Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this doesn't work. Let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods here, man. I am so blessed. I am so freaking blessed. I got Cowboys Crunk in the house. Cowboys Crunk, how you doing, man?
What's up, brother? Long time no see since the draft, right?
Yeah, it has been.
Since Leighton Vander Esch
no.
Day.
I see you on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube, of course. But yeah, man, that
Well-
was the first time. I get a lot of people come to the channel and they talk about meeting us there. That was before I started my channel, so
Yeah, that was a ball. For me, driving down there, having everybody there together and stuff, and just going through the whole situation was incredible. Missed your friend, man.
oh yeah, Kenny. His wife was over at the house the other day. We still hang out. Any of you guys that were at the draft and met Kenny, the Texans fan, you guys know the situation with that. He passed away a couple months after the draft, but really special guy. If you see me, that's why if you see me on my channel and I'm drinking out of my J.J. Watt cup, that's his cup, and that's how I try to represent him. And J.J. Watt's a solid guy too. So straight diehard Cowboy fan, but J.J. Watt is solid.
But here's the thing, and I get a lot of grief. Now you're around in here, and you'll see some paraphernalia for some other teams and stuff. But it's because I've been blessed enough to work with United Way, and I've met a lot of really, really great people that do a lot in the community about giving back.
Yep.
It's one of the things that I love about our Dallas Cowboys is, one, when they show up deep. They all show up together, and they're doing charity stuff, giving back to the community because they hold a whole lot of power and stuff. So, how did you become a Cowboys fan?
Grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I guess because, back in the day, I'm about 35 years old. So back
Young
in the
pup.
70s, when they were hot and they were on TV all the time, and Tennessee didn't have a team, so I kind of pulled to the Cowboys, and it was the best thing every Sunday was to get out of church at 11:30, and man, 11:30, I'm watching my watch,
Cowboys.
waiting for the Cowboys game to come on. Usually at 12 o'clock, prime time, Sunday football, and then moved to Dallas. Actually lived there for a while, and just always been a Cowboys fan. And
Wow.
the amazing part about it now is the internet allows us, no matter where I'm at, guys like yourself, and a lot of the other YouTubers allow us to keep up with the Cowboys. I could be in Germany, I can be in Dubai, I can be wherever in the world. I can get Cowboys news,
That's
and the
amazing to
internet
me.
is what opens it up to us, man.
Well, to me, it's still amazing because you got to understand when I grew up,
Yeah,
we had a landline. There were no cell phones. There was no internet or anything like that. And literally, 25 miles from my house was considered long distance. So even calling somebody who was in, say, Fredericksburg from Springfield, you can't make that call for long because it's costing you money. So the fact that, we have people like last night I was working with this guy, Arthur, who's in Australia, plays football there. And, here it is. They're following football. They get up first thing in the morning. They're watching games and everything else. And it's just literally, it's shrank the world.
yeah, it has.
So our Cowboys, we all know that this is a Dak-friendly channel. We all know that I've been in the tank for Dak Prescott before he was a Dallas Cowboy player. You've been around quite a while, too. You've seen a lot of Dallas Cowboys teams. How do you feel about this team this year?
Man, we're making the right moves. Is there only one team can win the Super Bowl, guys? I mean, you can have an amazing year and not win it all. It's just, and the thing is, only 13 teams have won a Super Bowl since we won our last one. Everybody talks about, how many
True.
years it is. It's,
Most of those have been Patriot
yeah,
wins.
the Patriots have doubled up, tripled up, quadrupled, 6 times. Pittsburgh has won a couple. Philly finally won one of theirs. So to put us in the basement, it's per se for not winning a Super Bowl in as many years as we have, on average, you should win a Super Bowl if it rolls around every 32 years. I mean, that's what, if you count every team as eligible.
True.
But, I know we've been sitting a while. We're in a window. We're in a window right now, just like we were when we won our last 3 Super Bowls. That's how good our team is, like in that winning window right now. So I think it's time to pull it out. We got to get these contracts signed. We go long term and get these contracts signed. I think we look good for the next 3 to 4 years.
Well, having all the talent in the world doesn't matter if you don't know what to do with it. I've got my 3 areas that are concerned. I want to hear what your 3 are. 3 things that make you stay up at night.
I like Jason Garrett and the way he talks and the way he presents himself and the things he says. but he's got to work on his clock management. He's got to work on his play calling towards it. And I know that's not all on him. I think they're fixing that. I'm really have a lot of insight and feel good about Kellen Moore's move. I didn't like him as a quarterback coach. I didn't think he had enough experience to teach the technical things. That's a technical job. But I do think he has the mindset to move this offense forward and put some different things. Boise State has one of the most amazing playbooks. I mean, they're dynamic. You watch Boise State, it's like watching arena football.
Yeah.
He's going to change some things up. So I really think, on all positive notes, I don't see anything that happened this season that I dislike so far. There's a couple players that aren't here now that I like the signing of Christian Covington.
That's one of those ones that people aren't really talking about. I mean, of course, everybody's talking about Tristan Hill.
Yep, baby.
But Covington is another big body in the middle. And, that's one of those things, being a defensive lineman, I always want that beast, that 800-pound gorilla and stuff. Vosh is on the other side where he's a former offensive lineman, wants to make sure we end up having the offensive line. But Covington is a big body, and I think if Tristan Hill maybe puts on a few more pounds, you're looking think that has a potential to be like the Warren Sapp for this defense if he progresses. But, you can have all the skill in the world. Doesn't mean you're necessarily going to develop. We look at Taco Charlton, and Taco has had the skills and the tools, didn't have a lot of experience, but doesn't seem to have the drive to kind of get him there, at least not yet. Okay, but you still haven't given me areas that worry you, that keep you up at night.
The coach and play calling towards the end of the games is where it gets me, and his ability to make adjustments. It seems like at times if we come out and do well in the first half, other teams adjust, and we kind of tend to fall apart at times when a team makes adjustments and we can't readjust or you know what I'm saying. I've seen us come in to games and just the second half, it doesn't seem like there's any adjustments made. So coaching is probably my biggest concern, and getting these guys signed. I know that's not a negative thing, but we got to move forward with the contracts and get these guys signed. And I think the best way to do it is it looks like the way they're approaching it. They're approaching it by working with the guys that seem like they're ready to work. You know what I mean? If you approach a player. Salute to Joe Boo.
To the Dallas Cowboys.
And the Dallas Cowboys show. Ooh, yeah. I'm not a shot guy.
But come on. That was pretty smooth now. That's a bronze appeal.
Oh, it is good. But, I think we've got a lot of guys that we need to get signed. And I've even, I know they're even working with Jalen Smith already. And that's what I think the best way to do is. All the guys we're working on, Jalen Smith, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, Cooper, start, feeling them out. If they're ready to work on their contract and they're flexible and they're ready to, when I say a team-friendly deal, something that works for the team and allows us to keep people, you do it. All quarterbacks need weapons,
Well, it's what it's, I tell you, it's not funny. It's actually sad. There seems to be, I always say there's reality and then there's perception, okay? Because the perception has always been that our quarterback stinks and he is, one of the bottom feeders and stuff. I mean, we had people saying that we should trade for Josh Rosen and have him as our quarterback. I've heard people say that, what's his name from Miami? Tannehill.
Tannehill.
Oh, man, I'd take Tannehill over Dak. It's like, really? Now you're beginning to hear people coming out with actually the real numbers because people always say, Dak's a dink and dunker. It was hilarious to me watching NFL Network. They had David Carr, who's an idiot. Did you hear what Derek Carr? They had the top 12 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl era, and he said that Joe Montana is not a top 10 quarterback. How do you fix your mouth to come out with? I mean, believe me, I hated Joe Montana because for me, watching them beat my Cowboys with the catch, that pass to Dwight Clark, and I asked him, I said, listen, were you throwing that away and Dwight Clark was just able to get up there and get it, or were you actually throwing it to him? And he's like, I'll never say.
Yeah.
But Joe Montana, what they were able to do, and the funny thing is Joe Montana did not have a great arm. but he was accurate as hell. And with that offense, they were able to deliver the ball in space where they could make plays. And that was kind of similar to what we ended up doing when you think about Alvin Harper going in the slot and stuff. And we were able to do once you got Amari Cooper and having talent around him. So they were going through, and it was almost hilarious because they were talking about Derek Carr. And they were saying Derek Carr, they actually called him a dink and dunker.
Yeah.
He's averaging 6.7 yards per pass. So that truly by definition is a dink and dunker.
Exactly.
But they were coming up with all these reasons. They said, well, he had 2 new tackles. He didn't have, great receiver. And it's like, wait a minute. I thought the argument was if you're a great quarterback, you elevate the play of the people around you, right?
Uh-huh.
And, that can't elevate people. But Amari Cooper, in 5 games with Derek Carr, a guy who he worked with his whole career, had 289 yards.
Yeah.
He goes with Dak Prescott and gets 780 in the 8 games he played. So Dak elevated him. So that argument about Dak Prescott's out of the way.
Exactly.
The dink and dunk is out of the way. Now you're saying the whole thing of having the talent around you. Oh, well, he failed because he didn't have talent. But wait. You're supposed to be able to throw a guy like me and be talented if you're a great quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you convinced Dak is our guy?
Me and you discussed this a little bit on the phone and stuff like that. I will tell you this. Dak Prescott, I think right now, with the deficiencies he has, all quarterbacks have slight deficiencies. I think he's between 7. I wouldn't even put him at 10. I think he's around the 7th best quarterback in the league. I think he's one of the best football players, and I told you that before. There's not very many better football players in the league, and if you put talent around anybody, you got to have talent around these guys, but you're not going to see. We had some quarterbacks when Romo was injured. That that year.
Oh my God!
And as soon as Dak stepped in, things were fine. The next year when Romo got hurt, but the year prior to that when Romo got hurt, how many quarterbacks did we test out and try to turn the team around? And
well,
Dak,
the 2015 season, think about it.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, and people always say, well, if any quarterback would be successful with what tools were. But think about 2015. You had Tyron Smith not missing time. And Tyron Smith was, at that point, still throwing people left and right.
Yeah.
You had Zach Martin, who was still young, but Zach Martin, didn't have an injured knee. You had Travis Frederick, who we didn't have last year. You had Ron Leary, in there, and you had Doug Free. That offensive line was great. And even with the running back we had gotten...
DeMarco Murray?
No, not DeMarco. After DeMarco Murray, 2015. Run DMC is what his nickname was, but from the Raiders.
Oh,
he was 4th in the league in running the football. So you would say, okay, that's the same formula that we have now. But you looked at Matt Castle, who had been successful in New England, as well as Kansas City. Couldn't do anything with the team.
Yeah.
You looked at Brandon Wheaton, who turned around and went to Texans and ended up winning 2 games to help them get into the playoffs. They couldn't do anything with this team. But Dak took that same team in 2016 and wins 13 games.
Yeah.
So clearly it's more than just saying, oh, we're just handing off the ball. And it's an interesting statistic. And people, you always hear about Carson Wentz having that MVP season, until he got hurt. Well, he would have been MVP. Oh, you know what? Bo Jackson would be a Hall of Famer, too, had his hip not went out. But they were 3rd in the NFL in rushing in 2017. They clearly had a balanced offense, and that makes all the difference in the world. And if you look at last year for Carson Wentz, he was good, but they weren't winning the games like they were before because they didn't have the running game that they had the year before. It's kind of like it's a two-edged sword that you really need to have both of these pieces to really be successful.
Yeah.
And that's always been the Cowboys formula. You think about Roger Staubach and Tony Dorsett. You think about Emmitt Smith with Troy Aikman.
Yep.
It's kind of like this is the Cowboy model that's always worked for them, and it's kind of like it's their identity.
Yeah, and I think we have brought a trend kind of into the NFL right now. Other teams are trying to go into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying. To me, football develops, and like when the West Coast offense came in, and
everybody kind of copied it, made their own version of it.
Yeah, and that's what kind of David Carr was talking about when he was talking about, Montana wasn't that good. They just had a completely different offense.
Nobody ran that offense like Joe Montana.
No, exactly. And the thing is, when you build your defense, when you build your defenses around the league to stop the West Coast offense, let's say, or that's what's hot, if you change things up and say, hey, we're going to become a run team. Well, the defenses aren't set up to stop the run. They're all set
Right.
up to stop the win. So when we went into this, development of, hey, we're going to build our line again. We're going to build our defensive line. We're going to, we're going to run the damn ball. We had so much winning with that, so much progress. I think because we were a little different. All the other teams were, going into Kansas. Well, Kansas City, I think they're a really good team, but I think they're not going to have a season like they did last year.
It's funny.
I think the defenses are starting to key on.
Pat Mahomes came out of nowhere too, and he's going to come back down to earth.
Yeah.
Everybody has him as the next great quarterback, but watch, it will come back down some. Teams are going to start keying on themselves, and it seems like, of course, with the NFL, that you have your darling teams. Kansas City is one of the ones that they, of course, love. The Browns. Oh my God, they have the Browns as winning their division and being a Super Bowl favorite. Come on, you watch. The Browns aren't going to be jacked. I'm telling you, Odell Beckham will be the cancer that destroys that team.
Yeah, ESPN. They got the talking heads.
Oh, and the Eagles are another one of their favorites.
Of course. Well, they like to bring these. I'm actually really happy that if you want to watch Cowboy news, there's not much on the news. You got to come to us,
Legitimate, at least. No, we're always on the news, but a lot of it's not legitimate. When you get these idiots out here that, Joe Montana's not, man, get out of here.
Yeah, it's nothing more than to bring viewers to the channel, and they say crazy things because drama brings traffic, I guess.
Brings clicks without a doubt.
Yeah.
So tell everybody about your channel.
Oh.
And how did you decide to start doing YouTube?
Because of you, man. Come on, man. You the godfather for me. In
other words, I'm old.
Every day, for real, straight up, solid. Hey, thank you for everything you do. I've told you, I actually started my channel. wasn't thinking about doing anything big. I started it a couple months after the draft. Matter of fact, I was in the RV with you and the other guys, and we were going around, and you went around and you would say, hey, these are the guys, and so starting up a channel, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna be Cowboy Crunk. It came off the top of my head in the RV,
and it stuck.
And it stuck, and that's what I did.
I tell you what, that was one of the most memorable trips I think I will ever have had in my life. Having E2 Blue, having DMV Dallas Cowboys, having Michael Anthony, even having Rashid there. Rashid was great comic relief.
Oh,
and
he
actually saved the day on getting the TV and stuff working. Yeah.
It was really cool to see a Redskins fan and my buddy Kenny, a Houston Texans fan, probably did more work than anybody there for us, which was really cool. Respect to the Cowboys, all teams bow down, baby.
And that's the great thing about football is kind of like the great equalizer too, because you can come from any walk of life, different colors and things like that, and we're gonna hate the Eagles, of course.
Yeah.
I hate the Eagles with a passion, just like I hate New England. But the fans and stuff, well, some of them are okay. Some of them are asses. You Eagle fans, some of you guys are assholes, okay? And that's not just because of football. You're just assholes in general. But on a real note, though, I enjoy talking with my man like Philly 500 and Tom Donnelly, the moron, and stuff like that. And being able to kind of go over and be able to talk a little bit of trash and stuff. And, when you win and everything else, to be able to give it to them and stuff, it's not so much fun when you lose. But you still have to man up, because if you are really a fan of the team, it's about the star. It's not about one individual player and things, and understanding that the bottom line is winning. And I look at our team and what we've actually been able to do the last 3 years. I know we haven't gotten that Lombardi, but I feel like this team has really built something. And I asked you about 3 areas that bother you. The 3 places I think that we really have to improve is, one, is we've got to be better in the red zone. We have got to get more touchdowns and settling for field goals and stuff. I think some of that's going to develop if we change the play calling. The statistic that blew my mind away was run-pass option.
Rico Gathers.
There you go. But
that's our boy. Me and Michael Fitness. I'm still pulling for Rico Gathers, man. I want that dude on the field so bad.
He'll do better with Jason Witten back in the fold.
But run-pass options.
Yeah.
6% of the time is all we had used that last year. You look at Kansas City using it 25%. And see, people, if I don't know how much you necessarily know about football, but understand basically when you're doing a run pass option, it's kind of like play action, something else we don't do enough of either. It's basically making the defender decide, is it going to be a pass or is it going to be a run?
It's freezing those linebackers
And
for
making
a
them
half a
think.
second.
And then a run pass option, meaning you can run it or you can pass it. It's an option. So give you an example. Let's say, normally when we were in 12 personnel, which is 2 tight end sets,
Yeah.
okay? Teams know they're going to run Zeke Elliott up the middle. Safety comes up in there. Okay. If you're doing this as a run pass option, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to fake a dive. Okay? That's like play action. So you've got the offensive lineman blocking like they're going to block for Zeke Elliott. So if there's 8 men in the line to stop that, that's where you're going to go ahead and option. You're going to have you're going to have Dak roll out. So he is now putting the cornerback on an island. Either the cornerback's going to try and come up and get him and leave his man wide open, okay, in which case I'm passing to the man who's wide open, or he's going to stay with this man, in which case he's going to run. And you're basically making a player have to make a decision between 2 bad options.
In the corner, he's going to come to Dak saying, I hope that safety picks my man up.
But if the
he's not
safety was
there.
already in the box and he gets
He's
sucked
not
in
there, exactly.
on the fake dive, now all of a sudden you've got 6.
Yeah.
And see, that's what the Redskins did with RG3 his rookie year, because you were worried about RG3 running. He could not pass out of the pocket.
Yeah.
But once he got out there in space, it's an easy lob because the guy's wide open to the wide receivers. And we just did not do enough of the play action, enough of the rollouts, because Dak is deadly when he rolls out, as well as these run pass options. So if we can start doing that, score better than red zone, and if we can get more takeaways, that's the area we have not had well since 2014, is taking the ball away.
Yeah, and takeaways, they start up front. Your line getting after the quarterback, harassing that quarterback, making him make quick judgments, making him make quick throws, making him make throws off with his feet not set. Those are the kind of things that help you get those, not just a ball hawk. So we get that well-rounded defensive line, and we got guys coming at the quarterback from not just the ends, but that push up the middle that causes the quarterback to step back and make a throw, cause the ball to sail. Those are the kind of things
Covington and Kristen Hill guys up in the middle.
That's
Along with Antoine Woods and Collins.
Yeah, man, there's not a person on our team right now that really you look at and you just want to get rid of. I know people are waiting on Taco Charlton. I was looking at the jersey over here, but I'm going to tell. I really have a belief on this, guys. And I know he was a first rounder. We got him at 27. But I think these defensive linemen and offensive linemen, like Connor Williams, I think they take a year or two. I don't think they come in at 24 years old and they're strong enough to manhandle, a 28, 20. There's a difference. When you were 30 years old and you talk to you had some guys that are a little younger than you, and they'd kind of be talking trash. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You 23, 24-year-old, you got a little more man strength to put. And I think when they start getting to that age, I think those big guys take longer to develop. Safeties come in, it's speed, agility, and quickness. You can have that at 22, but you can't have man strength at 28 years old. And I think Taco's coming. I think we just need to give him time. Top 10 picks, top 5 picks, they come in with that strength. There's players that are a little more elite. So I think Taco's. I think this will be his year. But then again, I don't think anything bad about a Cowboy player because we're pulling for all of them.
Amen.
Even the undrafted free agents. We're one of my boys on the team, not my boys, but I love Kayvon Frazier. I like his size. I love his tenacity.
E2 Blues frat brother.
Is it really? Oh, okay, man, dude. I love that dude, man.
Yeah.
I really think he has the ability to step in and maybe challenge for a starting position. I just think his size was what Chris Richard likes in him.
Well, Chris Richard definitely likes taller guys, and you can see that the Cowboys are evolving in their cornerbacks. With George Iloka, with Michael Jackson and stuff. They're definitely guys that are bigger guys. Okay, well, guys, that's going to be about it on this one. Cowboys Crunk's going to be in town for a few days, so we're definitely going to be rolling on over, checking with him, and definitely carrying on some more. Again, tell everybody where to find you.
Cowboy Crunk, baby, your war daddy at I guess it's at Cowboy Crunk YouTube channel. I guess just Cowboy Crunk.
There you go. I'll put it in the description.
Yeah.
I'm Mark Holmes, and you have been looking at this live from the Man Cave. I'll see you soon.